with the support for states, where over 2 trillion, close to 2 trillion naira was given in the form of restructuring of loans.
President Buhari meets with APC governors, reiterates commitment for the execution of the party's renewed mandate for sustainable development.
It's important that very soon a serious discussion happens about improvements or adjustments to the electoral process into future elections.
The Joint International Republican and the National Democratic Institutes releases final report on the conduct of the 2019 general elections. Make recommendations on improvement of future elections. Independent National Electoral Commission embarks on nationwide review of the 2019 general elections, devises ways of tackling subsequent challenges. And we continue in the countdown to the 32nd African Cup of Nations in Egypt. The Progressive Governors Forum has, good evening and welcome to the news. I am Muhammad Kudu Abubakar. Reading with me tonight, Ingrid John Adams in Lagos and Asma'u Habibu Shagari joins me from Sokoto. The Progressive Governors Forum has resolved to chart a pragmatic course towards the execution of the renewed mandate by Nigerians to the governing All Progressives Congress, APC. This is to remove obstacles to national development for sustainable future of the country. Chairman of the forum and Governor of Kebbi State, Abubakar Atiku Bagudu, announced this after leading the APC governors to an interactive session with President Muhammadu Buhari. State House correspondent Adam Musambo reports.
This is the first formal meeting between President Muhammadu Buhari and members of the Progressive Governors Forum since the inauguration of new administrations at both the national and state levels. While the President and the returning members of the Forum are barely 3 weeks into their renewed mandate of consolidation for the newly elected governors of the party, it is still a learning period. To the Progressive Governors Forum, however, there is no better time than now to plan for a more coordinated approach towards making the next level agenda more decisive and impactful on Nigeria's national life. This meeting, held behind closed doors, was therefore convened to bring the President up to speed on strategies towards the implementation of the new initiatives for a better Nigeria.
We offer our support to work with Mr. President continuously to ensure that we increase economic performance and social cohesion. We will be very more active in ensuring that investment in all the areas that can provide employment and incomes rapidly will increase. We will collaborate more to ensure that security is enhanced, particularly where it involves conflicts that are across state borders.
Although the newly elected governors might not have benefited directly from the President's magnanimous gestures in the last 4 years, their respective states must have either felt or are still feeling their impact. And on this, the APC governors were unanimous in appreciating the Nigerian leader.
We are quite happy with the support for states, where over 2 trillion, close to 2 trillion naira was given in the form of restructuring of loans, refunds on federal roads, refund for Paris Club, which has helped encourage economic activity in the states, payment of salaries, payment of pension, payment of gratuities, and overall investment in the economy by infrastructure spending. We are equally appreciative of increased investment in agriculture, which has been because of conscious decision to support agriculture as a way out of our economic challenges and provide economic growth.
The governors used the opportunity to commend President Buhari for the giant strides recorded so far in the areas of security, economy, and public accountability. Despite the drop in incomes, they say the value for money, which the President has always insisted upon, has been paying off with significant results in critical sectors of the economy. The governors also appreciated the President for successfully celebrating the new National Democracy Day, not only consistent with his promise, but also a major element reflective of his democratic ideals, thereby putting to rest an issue so important to many Nigerians. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu of Lagos State has sought and received the support of President Muhammadu Buhari to implement his robust initiatives for enhanced socio-economic development at the Center of Excellence. This was at a meeting with President Buhari, who also granted audience to the Governor of Kano State, Abdullahi Umar Ganduje. Correspondent Adamu Sambo again reports.
Describing his first formal engagement with the president since coming to power as an honor, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu of Lagos State briefed the Nigerian leader behind closed doors on his robust plan of action for the development of the state. Most importantly, his mission is to seek for cooperation and collaboration with the federal government, as well as the approval and support of the president.
Essentially to improve the quality of life and business development in Lagos. And we're very serious about it to ensure that we keep our whole state safe, secure, and it's also the gateway to economic development of the country. And so we must continue to encourage the international investors and also the private sector that Lagos remain ready for business and it's safe.
What are you taking away from your interaction with the president? How did he respond to your planned initiative for Lagos in the next?
I can't get it any better. I mean, his words were very encouraging. You know, his acceptance to the initiative that brought on board were very resounding. I'm very enthused. I'm very encouraged, and it just gives me the opportunity to go and do a lot more once we get this off the track.
President Buhari's engagement with Governor Abdullahi Umar Ganduje of Kano State centered on security of lives and property in the center of commerce for lasting peace and prosperity.
We are always in synergy with security agencies to ensure that Kano remains peaceful despite what is happening in the neighboring states. So I showed him that our emphasis now is on community policing, community participation, especially those local governments surrounding the forest here in Kano. So as of today, I think Kano is one of the most peaceful states in the Federation.
Governor Ganduje also gives an update on the prop he ordered in respect of the 6.8 million naira allegedly swallowed by a gorilla in a Kano zoo.
The preliminary report we have received is that there was an armed robbery, not the issue of gorilla. The issue of gorilla is a junk journalism, I think, because there is even no gorilla in the zoo. So, but we learned that there was armed robbery, of which the whole safe was even carted away, but they are still investigating.
The governor used the opportunity to confirm that discussions are still ongoing towards reconciling him with the Emir of Kano, Muhammadu Sanusi II. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Still with the Aso Rock Presidential Villa, two bills seeking the establishment of the National Institute for Security as well as the amendment of the Federal Polytechnic Act have been signed into law by President Muhammadu Buhari. The Senior Special Assistant to the President on National Assembly Matters, House of Representatives, Omar Yakubu, announced this while briefing the media. Correspondent Adamu Sambo has the report on these, as well as President Buhari's engagement with the delegation of the Progressive Ambassadors of Nigeria.
The new Federal Polytechnic Act seeks to harmonize the tenure of the rectors of such institutions, retirement age of the staff, as well as the establishment of governing councils that will have chairman and 5 members each.
The council should have a reflection of the federal interest, whereby you have, in fact, a woman shall be a member of that council, as well as a person representing the area where the institute is sited, in addition to one of the alumnus of the institute. And of course, the rector would serve a 5-year tenure, and whereby an existing rector has served, was appointed for a 4-year tenure, would have an additional 1-year extended.
The National Institute of Security Studies Establishment Law provides for effective training as well as enhancement of competencies and capacities of both the middle and senior managers in the security sector.
It will also serve as a critical research institute for initiators of policy and implementers, with a view to ensuring that, we have competent people managing the security environment for global peace and stability.
Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari has commended Nigerians in the diaspora for their peaceful conduct in their host countries, receiving a delegation of the Progressive Ambassadors of Nigeria led by its national president, Jesper Emenike. The president said Nigerians abroad must continue to bear in mind the sensitivities of their host communities and forge harmonious relationships. He applauded the organization for flying high the green, white, green Nigerian flag with pride and directed the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Nigeria Diaspora Commission to interface more positively with its members as well as other Nigerians in the diaspora desirous of contributing to national development. The national president, Progressive Ambassadors of Nigeria, Jesper Emenike, had congratulated President Buhari on his re-election and successful inauguration to take Nigeria to the next level. He formally conveyed their heartfelt appreciation to the president on his swift intervention leading to the reopening of over 400 Nigerian trader shops in Ghana by the host government over some trade policy disputes. The Progressive Ambassadors of Nigeria also applauded the anti-corruption campaign of the Buhari presidency and pledged its commitment towards grassroots mobilization and support.
In spite of all the politics of distractions, blackmail, sustained propaganda, elitist misdemeanor, misinformation, and unsuccessful attempts towards hypnotizing the Nigerian youth by the political class in order to undermine the visible gains recorded in the fight against corruption under President Muhammadu Buhari. We are happy to note that Mr. President has remained focused, immovable, courageous, and above all, triumphant. Right on, Mr. President. You are not alone.
From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
The European Union Election Observer Mission to Nigeria has explained that most of the recommendations contained in its report on the 2019 general elections in Nigeria requires legal reforms. The foreign mission stated these when it visited President of the Senate, Ahmad Lawan, as part of the consultations for interventions by the National Assembly.
Of the meeting is for the Observer Mission to officially present a copy of its report on the 2019 general elections in Nigeria to the legislative arm of government. The report, made of 30 recommendations, also appreciated the improvement Nigeria has made so far in its electoral process, but called for more.
Of those 30, we've identified 7 priority recommendations, but really our ultimate conclusion is that a process of comprehensive reform is needed.
President of the Senate, Ahmad Lawan, explained that the National Assembly has always embraced positive changes to the electoral process.
The INEC particularly is one institution that has been supported fully by the National Assembly and will continue to do that through legislation to improve its capacity, but also through appropriations to ensure that it gets whatever it requires for very credible and optimum organization, processing, and conduct of our elections.
Both parties re-echo the existing relations between Nigeria and the European Union and harped on the need to strengthen the ties, especially in the areas of economic and political advancement.
Speaker, House of Representatives Femi Gbajabiamila has also received the 2019 election report by the European Union Election Observer Mission to Nigeria, with the hope that the 9th National Assembly will consider the implementation of the recommendations therein in line with Nigeria's political culture. National Assembly correspondent Kenneth Nanim reports.
The report contains 30 recommendations with 7 specific areas requiring priority attention. These include reforms in the political system, improvement of election result collection processes, more transparency in the operations of INEC, and the processes that will encourage more women participation in politics.
Our 5th recommendation is that election tribunals be extended to cover the pre-election phase so that the disputes arising from the primaries are resolved before election day.
Speaker Femi Gbajabiamila acknowledged the collaborative initiative between Nigeria and the European Union, which has yielded results towards the sustenance of democracy and good governance in the country.
For we're going to hit the ground running in terms of electoral reforms, because you can, for me and for most of my colleagues, the process of elections is not just the election itself. The process is before the election, during the election, and after the election. That completes the process, so it's an ongoing thing.
In a related development, Deputy Speaker Idris Wase has expressed the optimism that the 9th National Assembly will provide responsible leadership towards solving the socio-economic challenges of the nation. This was when he received a delegation of Plateau State Youth Council on a course visit.
We hope and believe that you shall do great exploit, leveraging on our support, partnership and prayers.
The country is in dire need of good leadership because of the serious challenges we have in the nation. The gap is so much, and there are so many expectations. But together, I believe we would build a nation.
The Deputy Speaker also advocated collective responsibility approach towards achieving more progress in the country, while the Youth Council is confident that the new leadership will champion causes for greater youth emancipation and empowerment. From the National Assembly, Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
In the meantime, the International Republican Institute and the National Democratic Institute have jointly released their final reports on the 2019 general elections with 5 key recommendations ahead of the 2023 general elections. Timothy Yusuf has details.
The 2019 general elections marked the 20th anniversary of the country's transition to democratic rule. The international observers believe that the elections highlighted for many Nigerians the need for a national conversation about the progress made since that transition and the vulnerabilities that must be overcome to make electoral processes more credible and the country's democracy more resilient. For the 2019 general elections, the two bodies urged Nigerian stakeholders to seriously consider their recommendations bordering on legal framework and election dispute resolution, election administration, political parties' conduct, civic engagement, and election security.
It's important that very soon a serious discussion happens about improvements or adjustments to the electoral process into future elections.
We see it, the vitality of this country, just the tremendous resources that Nigeria disposes. We know what Nigeria can contribute to the Nigerian people, what it means to the Nigerian people, but what this country can contribute to Africa and to the world.
Election stakeholders feel that INEC has improved significantly in the electoral process, pointing out that more can still be done in future elections.
They did not dispute the eventual outcome of the elections. They pointed out the deficiencies.
The joint final report builds on the findings and recommendations of 3 pre-election assessment missions in July 2018, September 2018, and December 2018, as well as preliminary statements released following the February 23, 2019 presidential and National Assembly elections and the March 9, 2019 governorship and state houses of assembly elections. In Abuja, Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the presidency welcomes the joint report of the International Republican Institute and the National Democratic Institute on the 2019 general elections in Nigeria and the recommendations for the 2023 general elections. A statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, announced that the report shows clearly that President Buhari won the election by almost 4 million majority votes with a 14% margin. The statement, however, observed that the most important issue in an election is that the victory should reflect the will of the people. It says the Buhari administration intends to build on the innovations of the election that facilitated inclusiveness and participation, such as providing braille for physically challenged persons to cast their ballot. Meanwhile, the Independent Nigeria Electoral Commission, INEC's vision towards ensuring continuous improvement in the process of conducting elections in Nigeria and the efficient deployment of men and materials necessitated a nationwide review by the electoral umpire. Olabode Arewa reports that this review is on INEC's conduct of the 2019 general elections to improve delivery of logistics in future elections.
The review covers general preparation for elections, issuance and collection of permanent voter cards, voter education, publicity, procurement and distribution of electoral materials, role of security operatives and the media, as well as civil society organizations, In Port Harcourt, stakeholders in the electoral process re-examined the successes of the last general elections and lessons to be learned on improving the process.
As a commission committed to conducting free, fair, and credible and peaceful elections in Nigeria with an outcome that will inspire the confidence of Nigerians, this review is therefore necessary to ensure we do not fall short of our goals and to enable us to improve in each upcoming elections.
In Katsina State, the one-day workshop involved electoral officers. The meeting noted the need for more voter education about the voting process and ensuring effective logistics for future elections.
Over the next 2 months, the Commission has planned to engage with all the stakeholders.
This is an area where the area of those who conducted the elections, those who participated in the election, those who pretended on the election, are here to look at the elections.
In Oshogbo, ensuring seamless cooperation between the Independent National Electoral Commission and the security agencies were some of the issues discussed.
And I did say again that the 2019 elections were conducted according to law.
What we are concerned with is that not bringing money to our police stations on election day to come and start sharing money for the people. That is what we are basically concerned. But I know in future, the Commission may also engage with the security agencies.
INEC is optimistic that the lessons learned from the last general elections will stand as foundation for improvement on subsequent elections. In Abuja, Olabo Derewa, NTA News.
Bandit camp destroyed by the Nigerian Air Force in Zamfara State. Stay with us for details after this break.
Where people meet from Niger to yonder, got you talking. You are the one that's falling to keep you talking. Yeah! You got people talking. We've got people talking. Dressing from east to the west to the south. Everywhere they come by, they know me mouth.
With 5 times bonus to call all networks on every recharge, we get you talking.
Keep talking.
Glow Unlimited.
Mr. Shehu, are you okay?
I'm having pain, so this has been like this for the past 1 week.
Let me assist you to the hospital. You can't continue like this alone.
No. I want to go and see Baba Muslimi to give me some herbal mixture so that I can take. Because this hospital, the way they treat person, I'm not going to the hospital.
Mr. Shehu, that was in the past. With new patients' bill of rights, patients have the right to an urgent, immediate, and sufficient intervention and care. A right to complain and experience dissatisfaction where and when necessary with the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, FCCPC. Your consumers' rights are protected.
To lay your complaint, please contact any of the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission's FCCPC offices closest to you with your complaints. You can also call our helplines at 0805 600 2020 or 0805 600 3030.
Please, let us go to the hospital. I'd like to experience this firsthand.
At FCCPC, you can rely on us to resolve your complaints effectively and efficiently.
Enjoy the best of African football as NTA, Africa's largest television network and hotspot, Nigeria's foremost sports production and marketing company, bring you all 52 matches of the Africa Cup of Nations, Egypt 2019 live from June 21 to July 19, 2019. Yes, all 52 games will hit your screens in crystal clear digital quality. It's your guarantee of a memorable viewing experience and a wonderful cost-effective opportunity for corporate Nigeria to reach tens of millions of Nigerians. elections. For sponsorship and commercial support, contact Abubakar on 0803-331-0175 and Felix on 0803-308-2375. Hot Sports, masters of the game. NTA, you can't beat the rich.
These days, people get their news and information from more media sources than ever before. Some of the news and information given are fake, unverified, doctored, and manufactured to create confusion, stir disaffection, and cause disunity. Before you believe or share any news, ask yourself, is this real? Is it from a credible source? Is it verified or verifiable? Fake news is dangerous, whether you do it for fun or for political gains. Real people can get hurt. Fake news, don't create it, don't spread it.
This is a public service announcement from NTA.
Welcome back. A fire outbreak raging at the modern market, Makudi, Benue State, has been put under control following the combined effort of the men of the fire service and volunteers. Several shops were affected in the course of the fire. Meanwhile, the extent of the fire damage or the cause is yet to be assessed and ascertained. The air component of the operation Hadarin Daji has degraded a bandit camp and neutralized scores of armed bandits in the airstrikes conducted at a location near Dangote village in Zamfara State. This is in continuation of the troops' operations aimed at rooting out armed bandits from their safe havens within the various forests in the northwest geopolitical zone of Nigeria. A statement by the Director, Public Relations and Information, Nigerian Air Force, Air Commodore Ibukule Daramola, announced that the operation was executed based on the credible human intelligence reports indicating that some armed bandit leaders had assembled for an overnight meeting in a cluster of huts at the location to plan for attacks against nearby communities. Consequently, after confirmatory intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance, the air component dispatched 2 Alpha jets and an attack helicopter to strike the locations. The Alpha jet attacked the location in successive passes, neutralizing the bandits. Some surviving bandits who were firing at the attack platforms while attempting to flee the location were mopped up in follow-on attacks by the helicopter. Air Commodore Daramola noted that the Nigerian Air Force, in collaboration with other security agencies, will sustain its operations to flush the bandits out of the northwest geopolitical zone of Nigeria. Still on security, the Nigerian Navy Forward Operations Base in Bonny River State has handed over 23 suspects allegedly involved in oil crude theft to the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. The suspects were paraded before the media in Port Harcourt. Kingsley Amajiri reports.
Of the Nigerian Navy tracked down the 23 suspects in 2 different operations involving 2 vessels, MV Chebube and MV Blessing. The commanding officer, Forward Operation Base, Captain Kolawole Oguntuaga, while handing over the suspects to EFCC, said the Nigerian Navy aggressive patrol of the seaways and elaborate surveillance was instrumental to the arrest.
We have acquired platforms. We have the AIS system, we have the Regional Maritime Awareness Capability System, including the Falcon Eye facility. We use all these to gather information to be able to pinpoint where these illegal activities are being taking place.
MV Chebube was laden with 750 tons of illegally refined automated gasoline oil, AGO, while MV Blessing had 80 tons of AGO before they were apprehended. In Port Harcourt, Kingsley Amajiri, NTA News.
The Nigerian Army is working with the Federal Roads Maintenance Agency, FEMA, to ensure easier access of military personnel to the hideouts of criminals as FEMA embarks on the maintenance of rural roads across the country. Olabode Arewa reports that the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, announced the partnership during a strategy meeting in Abuja.
emotions there for all to see. Luis Enrique doing a jig on the pitch. Yellow Suarez. He's got to be really careful. Referee deciding not to take.
He explained that one of the major challenges which hamper military operations is the availability of motorable roads to enable military convoy to move into battle zones. He also emphasized the efforts by FEMA in carrying out major repairs on roads in the northeast of the country would have not gone unnoticed by the Army High Command. Armed bandits in Nigeria have forced an estimated 2 million people to flee from their homes. Many of them are now internally displaced, while others have sought refuge in neighboring countries. The National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons says it is working tirelessly to respond to the most urgent needs of the affected persons. Obageli Iwoke has the report.
Refugees, but each individual has a different story to tell. From the story of critical food shortage to affliction and abuse of their human rights.
We've taken our campaigns to the grassroots.
Mrs. Sadia Omar Farouk is the Federal Commissioner and National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons. She is collaborating with ECOWAS and the United Nations High Commission for Refugees to raise awareness on the situation of refugees, not just in Nigeria, but across the globe.
The Commission is focusing really now on durable solution, and this durable solution means how we can empower these people in different kinds of skills.
We are working with many other interlocutors that are interested in these issues to make sure that we have the resources.
So the dialogue is going on at the regional level with our partners wherever they are to continue to support mixed migration and to see the positive benefits of it.
The government of Nigeria also received a pat on the back for its repatriation efforts and accommodating refugees from neighboring countries. Biageli Ugoke, NTA News.
In recent times, insecurity has been a major challenge in Nigeria, though the exception of some states, including Kebbi State. The story is, however, changing in the state as Gwalima village in Argungu local government area witnessed series of attacks by suspected kidnappers. Correspondent Abdul Jalil Mohammed Bawa visited the area and now reports.
Village in Argungu local government area of Kebbi State is just about 31 kilometers from the state capital and has experienced attack by suspected kidnappers twice in 3 months and several phone calls by the kidnappers requesting for millions of naira, which has been a major threat to the villagers. Garba Julie, a villager in Gwalima who was kidnapped twice, narrated his ordeal to NTA News.
They put me in a cave. I spent 2 days inside without taking even water. After a while, I begged them to untie me so that I can pray. Luckily, one of them untied me, and that is how I escaped.
The village head of Gwalima, Muhammadu Bele Ruga, confirmed the incident and said the kidnappers usually call him whenever they are demanding for money. He said the kidnappers call him twice in 1 week, demanding for over 7 million naira, which they say failure to fulfill their demand, the village will be attacked.
I was the one they called, demanding for 2 million naira as ransom. Then I told them none of us have even 1 million naira.
Measures in safeguarding the life and property of the villagers. When contacted, the police authorities in Kebbi says they are taking action and later will brief the press. In Birnin Kebbi, Abdul Jalil Muhammad Ba, NTA News.
The United States of America has reaffirmed its support to Nigeria Defense Ministry's efforts at reducing the spread of HIV and AIDS and other related diseases among military personnel, as well as civilians living around military barracks. The United States Ambassador to Nigeria, Stuart Symington, gave the assurance at the opening of the Site Commanders and Site Team Leaders meeting in Abuja.
Ministry of Defense, as part of its response mechanism in 2005, established the Health Implementation Program in collaboration with the United States Army Medical Research with a view to curtailing the scourge of HIV and AIDS amongst troops, their families and civilians living within their environs. The meeting of these two partners, therefore, is to evaluate the efficiency of the program for a proper direction and accessibility of the antiretroviral drugs, vaccination, and laboratory facilities.
This is in addition to the enhanced research and interventional efforts to curb other infectious and non-communicable diseases.
We're working together to increase access to HIV/AIDS, and malaria diagnosis and treatment, to improve the quality of family planning and reproductive health services.
We have this program that is cheap, accessible, and people can come there with confidentiality and they can get what they need.
The Nigeria Defense Ministry and United States partnership is in consonance with the United Nations action against the scourge of HIV/AIDS and global response to the epidemic in Abuja. Doing Dia NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari has sent warm felicitations to Reverend Dr. Samson Olashupo Ayokunle on his re-election as President of the Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN. A statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, says President Buhari congratulates church leaders and the Christendom in general for the successful election, assuring the President of CAN that his administration will continue to strengthen the cordial relationship that has existed, especially in tackling the challenges facing Nigeria. President Buhari prays that the God Almighty will grant the leadership of the Christian Association of Nigeria more wisdom and strength in running the affairs of the association. Top players in the digital migration of broadcasting, especially in television, are strengthening collaboration to meet the new deadline after Nigeria's failure to migrate in 2015. To this end, a technical team from Gates Air, led by the chairman, Pinnacle Communications Limited, has visited NTA to perfect strategies for the switchover. Fatima Umar Buba reports.
Process that started many years ago to not only improve quality of television signals but also the quantity. Having failed to meet the deadline for digital migration, the Integrated Television Services, an arm of the Nigerian Television Authority, and Pinnacle Communications Limited, two licensed signal distributors in Nigeria, have intensified efforts to get Nigeria there. So far, 6 states have migrated successfully from analog to digital transmission, and this visit to NTA by the team is to further enhance the process.
The focus of the Nigerian analog switch off and digital switch on is got the priority focus in our company to the very, very highest level.
The relationship between ITS and Pinnacle's communication is excellent, and we are doing everything we can to make sure that we grow from strength to strength.
Very good. The beauty now is that you can see that we're collaborating with ITS, and Gombe is almost ready. We are looking at Lagos, Kano, and Port Harcourt.
The Director General also received members of the General Emmanuel Ebisoye's Foundation, where the chairman solicited NTA's cooperation to promote the essence of exemplary leadership of the late General and first Pro-Chancellor of University of Abuja.
Honesty and commitment to patriotism needs to be expounded, and so that we can have those who are coming after the youths to emulate.
The committee, which reiterated NTA's leading role in television broadcasting in Africa, urged the management to maintain the standard it has set for decades. Fatima Umar Buba, NTA News.
We have more news from our Lagos Network Center, and Hingino is our guide. Hello, Hingino. Over to you.
Thank you, Kudu, and welcome to Lagos. Palliative repairs on a portion of the Apapa Oshodi Expressway from Mile 2 to Tinkan Island Ports Corridor has commenced in Lagos. Ken Egbeluge, who monitored the situation, reports that more than 24 hours into the repairs, not much work has been done.
Following apparent inability of the tax team to tackle the problems within the stipulated time, the presidency again renewed the directive for another 2 weeks. This is to enable the team restore law and order within Apapa ports and environs. The situation has been worsened by the deplorable state of the road. This has made movement of vehicles practically impossible.
This our road is very bad. Life is very, very bad. Always container will fall down. The trailers will load petrol. Always it fall down.
This informed the decision of the Lagos State government to shut down the Mile 2 to Tinkan Island Port section of the Apapa Oshodi Expressway 48 hours for repairs.
This time around, I think the presidential order is working. We really appreciate what the President Mohammed government is really doing right now. I pray that they will complete what they have started.
By now, we believe that by God's grace that things will take a new shape, and the way we are seeing the workers, high-tech company, the way we are seeing the workers, by God's grace that things will work out. Let them start doing something immediately. I saw the movement yesterday. The thing is that they have been driving the dustbin from Westminster to another side. Let them remove it and construct the road once and for all.
Despite the advice by the state government for motorists to stay clear from that section of the road, this still happened. There is no doubt that repairs are ongoing. Residents, however, believe that the 48 hours given would not be enough to complete the repairs. In Lagos, Ken Egbeluge, NTA News.
Chairman, Dangote Group of Companies, Alhaji Aliko Dangote, says the cement company will increase capacity for export from 1 million tons to 8 million tons in the next 12 months. This, according to him, will generate about $700 million in foreign exchange. Amaka O reports that he gave the projection during the 10th annual general meeting of Dangote Cement held in Lagos.
The annual general meeting had top on the agenda presentation of audited financial reports of the year 2018 on the review, declaration of dividends, election and approval of revenue for board of directors, and auditors. Reports from the company shows that the year 2018 remains the most successful year ever, as reflected in the profit after tax, put at over 390 billion naira, and a declaration of 16 naira dividend per unit share to shareholders. Chief Executive Officer and Chairman Dangote Group of Companies, Alhaji Aliko Dangote, attributed the company's success to the 7 sustainability pillars adopted by the group. He said they will ensure speedy completion of the roads in their Apapa ports as they will continue to expand their operations.
Obajana will be 16 million tons by next year, and 16 million is actually one of the largest in the world. Our operations will become much cheaper because we want to continue to use local materials like coal, which is there in abundance but is not being used by a lot of companies.
Shareholders give credence to achievements of the company.
This year they pay us 16 naira. So we are happy with it, and you have seen the improvement of 52% compared to last year's dividend.
The net profit closed at over 390 billion naira. This is very good.
Dangote Cement operates in over 10 countries in Africa and has created over 36,000 jobs in Nigeria. In Lagos, Amaka O, NTA News.
This is NTA Network News. More reports after this commercial break. Please stay tuned.
Waiting here is a better future for all Nigerian women, and it's not always easy. Panadol Extra relieves headache, backache, joint pain, toothache, and menstrual pain. The pain is worth it.
Are you aware that your perfect family may be under threat by germs? Germs can cause infectious diseases like diarrhea, typhoid, and flu. These infectious diseases are amongst the biggest killers of adults and children. In Nigeria, tens of thousands of children under the age of 5 have died due to diarrhea caused by germs, which could easily have been prevented. These illness-causing germs are everywhere. Dirty surfaces, on cuts and wounds, on your clothes, in unclean bathing water. To protect your family from germs, use the power of Dettol's 1 capful. For surface cleaning, for first aid, for your laundry, in your bathing water, and to protect your family from up to 100 illness-causing germs. Be Dettol Sure.
One Football Confederation, 24 teams, 6 stadiums, 4 cities, 504 African stars, 1 trophy. The Africa Cup of Nations, Egypt 2019 comes alive from June 21 with the showpiece final on July 19, 2019. Watch the 52 matches of the tournament live on Africa's biggest and largest television network, NTA, in partnership with Hotsports. Be part of the biggest soccer fiesta in the African continent as the Super Eagles go on a bold mission to clinch the prestigious title for the 4th time, to the excitement of millions of fans across the length and breadth of Nigeria. Nigeria's premier sports production and marketing group, Hotsports, partners with the biggest, the largest, and the #1 television network in Africa, the NTA, to give Nigerians a memorable viewing experience. Boost fan support for the Super Eagles to glory in Egypt. For inquiries, please contact Abubakar on 0803-331-0175 and Felix on 0803-308-2375. NTA, you can't beat the rich.
The Nigerian national flag is a sacred national symbol. It is a mark of patriotism and a show of love for our nation to fly the national flag correctly, in the right colors, right dimension, and in the right sizes for each occasion. In recent times, it has been noticed that government offices, corporate organizations, banks, embassies, and other notable institutions fly faded, shredded, and haggard-looking versions of the national flag. This is wrong and must stop. It has also been noticed that some citizens prefer to popularize the national flag of other nations. Fellow countrymen and women, let us be patriotic. Come, let us show love for our motherland. Fly the correct versions of our national flag in all relevant places. Be patriotic. Be proud ambassadors of our great country.
This message is from the National Orientation Agency.
We welcome you back with this good news. Nigeria's Trader Money and Market Social Investment Initiative win Africa's most impactful financial inclusion award. For details and more stories, let's join Amina Nujen on Business News. She's here in the studio.
Thank you, Mohammed. Nigeria's Trader Money and Market Social Investment Initiative backed the Africa's Most Impactful Financial Inclusion Award, the Africa's Bankers Award held in Equatorial Guinea. The organizers say the social investment program is thriving especially in delivering financial products and services to the wider society. A statement by Laolu Akonde, Senior Special Assistant to the President, Office of the Vice President, lauded the organizers for the recognition, noting that 10 million people are to benefit from the program in the next 4 years. This is in addition to the 2 million Nigerians currently benefiting. It is established fact that the development of any nation depends mainly on the capacity of citizens, particularly the youth, who constitute more than half of the population of Nigeria, to effectively explore and exploit the country's natural resources and transform same into finished products and services through value addition. These economic experts say is the sole purpose of entrepreneurship education being conducted in Nigeria to catch the youths very early in life. A point the Director General of SMEDEN, Diko Umaru Rada, agrees while addressing youth in Abuja.
The most important aspect is that you should inculcate this kind of spirit into the pupils of primary and secondary school, so that these ones will imbibe the spirit of the entrepreneurship. They shouldn't be looking for white-collar job when they finish their schools. Rather, they will be masters of themselves because they already have the spirit of entrepreneurship in them.
And from the Nigerian equities market comes the news that investors lost 51.79 billion naira as market sentiment turns negative. At the close of trade, the market dropped further on Tuesday by 0.39% to close at 29,818.80 basis points, while market capitalization 13.140 trillion naira. Its year-to-date Tuesday stands at minus 5.13%. Investors exchanged 2.912 billion shares valued at 11.225 billion naira traded in 3,324 deals. Financial institutions were the most traded stocks. Wema Bank continues to top the chart. This was followed by Zenith Bank and Access Bank. That's about it from the business desk. Mohammed, it's back to you.
Thank you, Amina. Yobe State Governor has warned contractors handling various construction projects across the state to ensure compliance to standards and deliver on quality as agreed in all contract specifications or risk losing the contracts. This was during an inspection of the ongoing construction of Yobe International Cargo Airport in Damaturu. Mustafa Yusuf Musa reports.
The International Cargo Airport, situated 25 kilometers away from Damaturu, the state capital, was initiated by the immediate past administration, with construction work commencing in October 2017. The initial contract sum was 11.3 billion naira and revised to 21.7 billion naira following observation raised by the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria, Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, Nigerian Airspace Management Agency, and International Civil Aviation Organization. During an inspection visit, Governor Memola Boni said he is satisfied with the level of work, emphasizing that his administration came to complete all ongoing projects and ensure that they are carried out according to specification of bill of quantities to upgrade the living standard of the people.
Let me use this opportunity to call on all contractors handling all ongoing projects for speedy completion of projects with strict adherence to specifications as agreed.
The total payment made to date was 61.14%, while the total work executed stood at 58.52%, with control tower 80%, runway 65%, while access road stood at 52.6%. In Damaturu, I am Mustafa Yusuf Musa, NTA News.
It's now time to join Asma'u in our Sokoto Network Center for more stories from that zone. Hello, Asma'u.
Hello, Muhammad. Good evening and welcome to Sokoto. Commissioner in charge of Sokoto, Kebbi and Zamfara states, Amina Bala Zakari, has identified flagrant abuse of electoral laws and guidelines as the major challenges faced by the Commission during the last elections process. She was speaking at the 2019 Post-Elections Review Forum in Gusau, Zamfara State.
The post-election review is an exercise organized by INEC in respect of the past elections in order to provide the needed strategic direction for the Commission's programs and activities ahead of the next electoral cycle. Participants at the 2019 general elections review in Zamfara State include staff of the Commission, coalition officers and some other selected ad hoc staff, as well as relevant stakeholders from governmental and non-governmental organizations, among others. INEC National Commissioner in charge of Sokoto, Kebbi and Zamfara States, Haja Amina Zakari, presided over the review exercise, which dwells on specific issues peculiar to the state, general and specific challenges and the recommendations. She identified flagrant abuse of the electoral laws and guidelines by politicians and political parties as the major challenge faced by the Commission during the 2019 electoral process.
What makes a good election is the attitude of the community within which we conduct the election. So if we can improve on our attitudes internally, externally, we should be able to get good elections going forward. And the populace ought to understand that election is not war.
Earlier, Zamfara State Resident Electoral Commissioner Dr. Asma Umaikudi appealed to the participants to be objective in their contributions and avoid spurious and selfish claims. The review, which features group work and report writing, is expected to come out with a communiqué. In Gusau, Jamilu Ibrahim, NTA News.
Agenda for the next level. The tone, the message, and the expectation of Nigerians as President Buhari begins second term in office. That is our focus on NTA Tuesday Live tonight. Tuesday Live, incisive and educating. Join us.
One Football Confederation, 24 teams, 6 stadiums, 4 cities, 504 African stars, 1 trophy. The Africa Cup of Nations Egypt 2019 comes alive from June 21 with the showpiece final on July 19, 2019. Watch the 52 matches of the tournament live on Africa's biggest and largest television network, NTA, in partnership with Hotsports. Be part of the biggest soccer fiesta in the African continent as the Super Eagles go on a bold mission to clinch the prestigious title for the 4th time, to the excitement of millions of fans across the length and breadth of Nigeria. For inquiries, please contact Abubakar on 0803-331-0175 and Felix on 0803-308-2375. NTA.
Nigeria's Super Eagles are now in Alexandria for their AFCON group matches. Correspondent Uche Ngbede recalls Nigeria's record and the Eagles' attempt to earn a 4th title in our AFCON countdown.
The battle line has been drawn and the 24 teams are qualified for the 2019 African Cup of Nations and now in last-minute preparation for the 32nd AFCON. Nigeria in Group B alongside Guinea, Madagascar and Burundi. Ahead of kickoff on June 21st, fans of the Super Eagles are confident that, based on the record of the 3 group members, it appears the Super Eagles are going to have their easiest group stage run ever in the history of the competition. Since 1957, when the first AFCON tournament was held, Guinea has qualified for only 12 editions, while Madagascar and Burundi are debutants in Egypt 2019. Nigeria's first appearance in the African Cup of Nations was in 1963, when they were drawn in a group with Sudan and the United Arab Republic, now Egypt, but they did not advance to the next stage. The team withdrew from 2 African Cup of Nations between 1963 and 1974 due to political instability. In 1976, they returned to the Cup of Nations with 3rd place finishes in both 1976 and 1978 edition. Nigeria hosted and won in 1980 in Lagos before they came out as runners-up 3 times and had 1 group stage elimination between 1982 and 1990. Nigeria had appeared again in 1992 and 1994 edition and finished 3rd in 1992 and won the 1994 edition, making it the 2nd time Nigeria won the tournament. In 1996, the country withdrew from the tournament due to political tension and were banned from entering in 1998. In 2000, they returned to the Cup of Nations and were runner-up. They later finished in 3rd place at the 2002, 2004 and 2006 editions. Based on these, the Super Eagles are quite aware of the high expectations from Nigerians who expect the Eagles to fly over their opponents and return to the country with the trophy. The Super Eagles coach, Kenneth Raw, ever since had not relented, the final list of 23 players to play in AFCON was announced. To this end, the team has been putting finishing touches to their preparations as they faced AFCON-bound team Zimbabwe last week in a game that ended 0-0.
Indicates that a